So some laboratories and test fields that some of them exist, some of them don't. Co-housing, eco-villages, one planet communities, and what I like to call castle. Do people know about co-housing? Is this like something now that everybody knows about? I guess raise your hands if you know about it. Yeah, okay. So these are intentional communities meant to balance privacy and cooperation. And so I'm just going to show you some pictures. This is a common house. Typically they have, they might have an office in there that people could share. They have dining in there. They have visitors' rooms, so you don't have to have, a separate bedroom for visitors in your own place, so each unit can be smaller. So these are just pictures of different communities. They look pretty good to me. Oh, sorry. There's camera action. Eco-villages are kind of a larger version of the same thing. This is Dancing Rabbit Eco-Village in Missouri. A guy named Dan Durica has said this, that they've reduced their footprint by 85%. They have a 200-plus acre backyard he shares with his friends, 5-minute walk to their pond. I would argue we get 80% of the fun and 80% of the utility out of modern life with about 15% of the consumption. Leaves us room for other fine things in life, like watching fireflies, going for a quick swim before dinner, or taking long walks with friends. And at this point, I sometimes go, Dan, buddy, fireflies, really? Like, seriously, you think I'm going to enjoy fireflies? Like in my world, I'm going to enjoy fireflies? And that sometimes leads to the cocaine firefly tangent, which is related to what Adam was talking about, which is essentially if you train your brain on really fast-moving stuff that's really stimulating, your brain gets used to it and needs that before it gets its squirt of dopamine that it likes. So the radical hypothesis is, what if you train your brain to be bored? Mindfulness would be a good way of doing that. You train yourself to need less stimulation, and all of a sudden, your brain, seriously, right? Your brain goes, whoa, look at that firefly. Just what if? I'm just saying. Okay. Right. Tamara is a kind of it's a community in Portugal, but they synergize social and physical technology in an interesting way. They put a lake. Do you notice how in most valleys you put a road right there, right? Don't you? That's where you put your road, which is right in the middle of where your lake should be. Anyway, they started with one spring and they rehydrated the landscape. Now there's 7 springs. Good luck with the birth. So this is an area characterized by desertification. The desert is encroaching and they're reviving the landscape. They have a greenhouse and they take the waste heat, which is prevalent in greenhouses, store it in vegetable oil and use it for cooking and powering Stirling engines, which is this thing here, for water pumping and electricity production. So they also have micro-biogas system built in 2 days, produces 2 hours of gas for cooking. For every bucket of kitchen scraps, some cow dung and stomach bacteria, produces liquid fertilizer as a byproduct. I wouldn't want to be eating that soup, but that's pretty cool. And they're the same people who talked about the social technology. Castle. One of the problems is that how many of you are going to move into a co-housing community or an eco-village, in the next year? Right, exactly. You're like, what? Are you kidding me, buddy? So, having witnessed that very understandable feeling, this is something that may work better: a community-supported, sustainable lake house. That is, if it's a one-planet living test field with multiple entries for people, ranging from vacation to living there, permaculture design, which I didn't get a chance to talk about, with critical social covenants, which would be those necessary and sufficient social technologies, and a lot of freedom. And I think... All right, so here's the summary. To maximize sustainable well-being, we need interdependent humans. We need to recognize that we are interdependent humans. We do that through inner work, mindfulness, therapy, prayer. We need to realize that we think, do, and feel what our context primes us to think, do, and feel. So let's design contexts that make sustainable well-being inevitable rather than a miracle. Open source life design. which would study a network to distill the necessary and sufficient social technologies for sustainable well-being, and then deploy those in test fields as local village-scale solutions for, one, just good living, right? I mean, you could just stop there. That's enough. But also for further study, refinement, and feedback. So I'm going to sing you one more song, and then we'll have time for questions.